that. This is a call to order of the meeting, March 6th. We will have a flag pledge, and the flag is to
the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bill's Pizza Parade, Lily Fees, Carol Yardley, host Jim Jordan, Nathan McClintock, that's even know. Michelle Roberts and Mary Schilling. Okay, agenda item 2, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
A second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Discussion. Okay, a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay. 7-0. Michelle. Okay.
I think we're supposed to do roll call vote now, right?
Oh,
Oh.
That's what we're.
we'll do that next time.
Yeah.
We'll have a chance.
I think as long as you can note down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But thanks for the reminder.
And we will be doing that in the actual minutes, we'll be putting in individual.
Okay.
Each of your names and.
Make sure we're following the rules.
All right, agenda item 3. Thank you. The board would like to thank ILWU Women's Auxiliary number 1 for their $50 donation to the food service department. Thank you for that. Agenda item 4, public participation. We redid this paragraph. The board welcomes comments and questions from the public. If you wish to address the board, please fill out the public participation sheet available at the table in the back and give it to the board secretary, Michelle Bricks there. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. The board will not engage in discussion with members of the public during this time. It is for public comment only. Board chair has the discretion to limit the number of comments on a particular topic. Speakers may offer objective criticism of school operations and programs, but the board will not hear comments regarding individual school personnel or board members. Okay, with that, looks like we have 4, Michelle. Does that sound right?
I think so.
All right, we will start with Mr. Neil Jensen, sir. 3 minutes.
Will this timer start for me up here? Let me know.
We got the-
Okay.
Certainly open your mouth, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you today. My name is Neil Jensen, and my wife and I have 4 students currently in schools in the district, 2 at the middle school and 2 at Hillcrest Elementary. In addition to that, my wife and I are both also alumni K through 12 from the North Bend School District. And then we headed off to university and decided we wanted to move back home after working in our careers for a while to raise our kids here. So our kids have started kindergarten and gone up. So we just recently attended a TAG meeting in January, and it started our family thinking about how the schools could better serve our children as well as other high achieving students in the district. We do listen to school board meetings and did hear in recent meetings some primary goals for the district, and those would be performance and student behavior. What has been done in the past, often in schools, was tracking, and tracking is placing students in classrooms based on demonstrated achievement. The new kind of model, because that we've gotten away from the tracking, at least in elementary schools, middle schools and high schools still do tracking. Clustering, so small groups of students, 3 to 7 in the classroom, are instructed in higher level concepts after they finish their work. And that is teacher led. It's not just sitting them in front of a computer screen, which is kind of what happens currently at the elementary school level. I did read a lot of research papers. And when I say a lot, I read 10 research papers. To me, that's a lot in social sciences. Studies in general, and there is a good paper from somebody out of San Diego, a grad student, a PhD candidate, where they looked at all the research that had been done. Studies have shown that tracking does increase test scores for higher achieving students, while showing little to no positive or negative effect for lower achieving students. Common theme of the tracking being thought of negatively was social impacts on lower achieving students. And this is where bias can often creep into social science studies. It's very hard to control for that when you're polling people. We feel as parents that the pendulum has gone too far in propping up equity and outcomes and not enough focus on equality of opportunity. In regards to student behavior, the middle school, my 2 students report multiple daily disruptions in all the classes, except there are hardly any disruptions in the accelerated math classes that they are in. Disruptions are ongoing and frequently the same students over and over. At Hillcrest, my 2 students are there. Frequent disturbances, including shouting, hitting, touching, invading personal space, and disregarding teachers' directions. This again is most often the same kids over and over again. And I don't put this primarily on the teachers at all. We have a rough area, and home lives are pretty difficult for a lot of kids in our district. So in conclusion, we feel we have done a good job of keeping doors open for those that struggle, but we have done a poor job of opening doors for those that succeed. Thank you.
Hey, next up, we have Mr. William McDonald.
Thank you, City of North Bend board members and the general public. I am a veteran citizen of the United States and a resident of Oregon, have been since 2010. My name is William, and with constitutional principles, I am here and to address kindergarten through 12th grade, and then through all of our universities in cooperation with universities worldwide, continental and domestic. And that is that we bring back paper, and we bring in building trade schools, teach pupils and students when they're at the age with their cognitive, social, intellectual skills, that they learn how to build things, bring in the arts and humanities, and the philanthropies as well as the sciences, technologies, the modern medical arts, nursing schools, and doctors, where there are Doctors Without Borders, medical schools, and building trade schools. Where I'm originally from, and I live out here now, I'm here. We need skill centers in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and you can look this up on the computer. They have, I think, 2 skill centers in Southwest Michigan, and they have been operating, I think, since 1969 or 1970. They have taught auto mechanics, AutoCAD, and there are other Southwestern Oregon Community College, bringing back carpentry, bringing in the National Association of Home Builders to build not only affordable housing here, we need a U.S. courthouse here with a state of Oregon courthouse inside, find a campus for that. Veterans Medical Center, with plenty of campus room for public and staff parking, and ADA accessibility, obviously for all. Public education, if you had heard last night on the radio, Linda McMahon, who is the United States Department of Education Secretary, they're getting ready to dismantle the United States Department of Education. That is not needed. We need our textbooks back, get the kids away from the computers, get them creating, reading, writing, learning the arts and humanities, teaching them how to work in lab, how to build, how to create things, how to develop their basically all of their skills, and have the parents, PTA involved, have all involved in the community, and patent all schoolwork. I have addressed this to Congress in addition to voting over the years. Patent everything. Have the kids K through 12 and all through our universities, community colleges, land grant inclusive. Patent everything. I appreciate your valuable time. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I will stay in touch. I'll be back. I've got your scheduling meetings. Thank you.
Sounds good. We'll see you there. Thank you. Next up, Heidi Beagles.
I'd like to bring a question first about the day of my hand first. Where do I need to sit with my disability? And you can talk to. Can I move? Ask Mr.
Okay.
Gardner, please.
Do I have to sit? I fell off the cliff and it's a little uncomfortable to sit for like 3 minutes. Is there a sitting rule?
Well, stand by your table.
I would love that. Thank you for the accommodation. We were just talking about ADA and I just thought what a great time. Hello, everybody. I'm Heidi Fiegels. I've changed my name to Ivy. I've been doing an anthropology study on our town for the last 5 years. I love what you said. I love what you're saying, and I'm gonna build on you if you don't mind. This very educated sir, I hope you all listen because he had some very important points. And I'm just gonna pull one of them. Hillcrest, your kids aren't doing well there. Daryl Johnson right behind you. My children have no problems at North Bay Elementary, sir. Move them where they can thrive. And don't ever let people in life tell you where or where you can't thrive. Thank you. Secondly, the junior high, it's too late. My anthropology study of all our homeless people, my sitting at the city council, that's where we go to talk about the housing, Bangor, the old school. That's where we talk about those things happening, and because that's why our town is the way it is because we have a major economic gap where you guys all have a great paycheck. And the rest of them are floating downstream, failing. I can't stand here as a loving human being today and tell you that I'm okay with all their failure. I can tell you a lot of them are choosing their failure. Those aren't the ones to help. And it's too late. We need to get them when they are with Mr. Johnston and with whoever your principal is. They have a new one this year. And we need to get them before they get to Mr. Davison at the middle school because it's too late. They're already drowning. Montessori education tells you that if you have a box of blocks and some crayons, your child's gonna succeed. So when my husband got hurt on the job, we made over $150K a year. We went into a solar RV and were ticketed and abused by our local police for 5 years. I asked for my McKinney-Vento specialist at a time that I very much needed it, sir. I very much needed the help for my 5 beautiful children that I'm standing here today for. I have a kindergartner that failed in the fall because her mommy didn't get a walker to class. I'm here today for Tobin Jovi Beagles. Her name means God is good, joy. She really wants to be in kindergarten, but she wants me to walk her there. I apologize for any misunderstanding on my side of why I needed my McKinney-Vento specialist. I want to be there for my children more than any other parent in this town, except for these ones that are here. But I didn't want to come after falling off of a cliff because I was on a pain level up here where I didn't want to come in here and cry or be disrespectful. I've been through the therapy and the work, and I've taken all the steps and done the action every single day to be here. To ask you if you could please, sir, with all respect to you and everything that you're doing, allow me to walk my child to class. Allow me to be there for my children. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Heidi.
Yes, yes, sir.
Our last public speaker, Sarah Bennett.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Sarah Bennett. I have 3 kids in the district, 1 at each school, elementary, middle, and high school. My oldest son is autistic and is in Mr. Ben Yester's class. A group of us parents got together and we've been kind of talking about a multitude of different subjects. So I'm actually here representing more than just myself in some of these subjects. I'm going to go as quickly as I can because there's a lot to cover. The comment that I did mention is on that card is about this comment period. I would like to recommend that this comment period for public move to the end of the meeting. So if we have anything that we want to say about the actual meeting itself, we can do so at that meeting, because whatever you guys discuss after this point, of course, we won't be able to speak to that until the next meeting. So it would make sense to move that. All right, the topics that parents would like to discuss is the sports grade rules. If the sixth grade grades don't matter to sports, why is sixth grade at the middle school rule is applied in seventh grade, not sixth grade? Why? 2, harassment and bullying policy. There was an incident caught on video. A student came up behind another student, slapped them in the face. There's a punishment contract. What is the current policy for harassment and bullying? How is it applied? How is it monitored, followed up? What is the accountability of the North Bend School District on how this situation was handled, as well as followed up on and the oversight to ensure that the positive changes are in fact effective. Licensed educators indirectly or directly not adhering to students' 504 IEP plans, students with said plans not receiving accessible services in a fair or timely manner. Students are disciplined when using, let's say, their calculator and receiving detention for being caught. Those are examples of those situations. Communication, student performance, schoolwork, and test is thrown away and it's not brought home to review to see where the child needs extra help in a subject. So apparently the parent view and or lack of communication between teacher and parent, there's some sort of a disconnect. So some students are falling behind, you know, in the cracks there. Most importantly, and one of the reasons I was here is because of an employee that was intoxicated at a school dance, and there was an investigation. The employee was on administrative leave and they came back, but my son was directly questioned, but then I heard nothing and I had to actually broach the subject with the principal instead of actually hearing something about that situation. What are the impacts of the federal changes that you guys know about yet with, I'm sure there's a lot of uncertainty that's coming down the pike. And then what happened to this district? When we moved here 3 years ago, I'm an Oregon native. It was 8 out of 10 great schools. Now it's at 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Everyone call the cops for the parents and make sure all is clear.
Great. With that ends public participation. On to agenda item 5. Communications, 5A, board reports and communication. No board report. Okay. 5B, student representatives to the board, high school representatives Ellie Barrier and Dwayne Parker.
Okay, thank you for having us. Can I just start one?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, to start off, North Bend High School has made history in the last week with senior Kayliana Mizuchi being the first girl to win a state championship. And she pinned her opponent in the 3rd round, winning her state. And fellow teammate Rowan Hampton got 5th place in state. And for spring sports this past week, we currently have 186 students signed up to participate in the spring, 25 in girls flag football, 10 boys for boys volleyball, and the rest for track. These new emerging activities for the OSAA, we are not sure if we're able to put a boys volleyball team together, but we are trying our best to. North Bend High School students have begun selling raffle tickets this week for the new car donated by Kuzbei Toyota. The winner will be drawn next year at the North Bend versus Marshfield football game. Anyone interested in purchasing a ticket should contact the athletic office at the high school. The winter sports season is near ending. The only sport we have continuing is girls basketball team participating in playoffs, and they play number one team in state, Philadelphia, tomorrow at 7. At the swimming meet a couple weeks ago in Portland, our boys placed 5th. We had a number of boys and girls that brought back medals in both individual and relay events.
We have a Sadie Hawkins dance at North Bend High School next Saturday night. It will be hosted from 7:30 to 9. And we also have senior sweatshirts that went on sale the past week. We are hoping to get an order placed before spring break to sell. Next Tuesday, the dance department will present their winter showcase in the gym at 7 p.m. And today is the start of the OSAA 3A state tournament basketball. This This is the 14th year that North Bend and Marshfield High Schools have hosted this event. Last night, there was a player dinner alongside a coach's dinner, and there was a free point contest afterwards in the gym. Today, games started with all the girls games at North Bend and the boys games at Marshfield. It's estimated that the tournament will bring in between 500K and 750K. Nearly every hotel room is reserved. Restaurants are full each night, and people are visiting the shops in town. It's coming towards the end of the term next Wednesday and Thursday. And the new term starts the following Monday. And that's all. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us.
So a couple, I guess, the new Toyotas here from.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's from the gym today.
Okay.
They don't have it wrapped. They got similar wrap as last time. They said they were gonna leave. All right.
That's a great, so the clubs get to keep all the money, so if you're a big salesman, good for you.
Yeah.
Kind of like capitalism, except with free car park.
Yeah, free car park.
That's a good, yeah, very generous.
How much are the tickets?
$10.
Are they still 10?
No,
Okay.
not bad, $10. Just a reminder, last year, our clubs combined total was over $17,000. Wow.
Wow. That's just our school, but that's our school.
Yeah, I think it's like 21. that they-
Oh, we got a beer.
Yo, lock arms.
That's right.
Go further when you lock arms, go further together.
Yeah. And then the 3A basketball again, glad we're co-hosting that with Marshfield, great for the town, great for businesses, community, great thing.
Yeah, I got to attend dinner last night, it's Harvard, and just jewel one, every single coach talks about how much their kids love to come. And how well they're.
Is it still that is there 10 businesses that sponsor the teams within the?
Every team has a host and every team has a business sponsor. And there's 16 total teams, 8 of them girls, 8 boys teams. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. It really is. It's an amazing organization to put the event on and to support the kids the way we do. Because a lot of times a basketball tournament, kids, and I've been in this situation where kids show up in a town, they show up at the gym and they play and they go and nobody knows they're there. They just show up and play. And in our situation, the whole town knows you. And signs on business marquees, people show up, people volunteer to help kids, it's long-term relationships, teams that end up being consistently successful, come back over and over again. Come back and have the same host families they had the year before, and so it's pretty amazing. It's just really amazing.
Okay, thanks for the report out on that, Vince. All right, agenda item 5C, association reports, Eva Varga.
Good evening. Since the last time we met, Christina Geierman, Ben Yester, and I had the opportunity to go up to the state capitol for lobby day, and we got to sit down and talk with representatives Dick Anderson and Goomer Wright. So that was my first time doing that, and it was really rewarding. It was a really neat, very cool experience to sit down and to kind of see how the government side of the world works, right? And we had a really positive conversation with Boomer Wright. We just really appreciated the things he had to say. One of the things that he mentioned is that he's working on writing some legislation that will address tier 3 behaviors in the classroom. And so it's just really nice to have someone that has our perspective but sitting on that side of the fence, I guess you could say. Some of the legislation that we were encouraging was to raise the funding cap for special ed, and also for pay parity for part-time college, community college educators, but of course that doesn't affect you. It was just something that collectively we were addressing. Biddy Bulldogs, a second classroom at North Bay has now opened. Sadly, the new teacher is Kathy Grieg, who was like a dedicated sub at Hillcrest. So we're all sad to see her leave, but we know that she's going to find a wonderful new family at North Bay, and she's really excited about that new chapter and in her life. So I know that's going to be real positive for everybody. North Bay Waterfall Clinic has also hired a counselor to help work with students that are attending school there. So that's a real positive thing. At the middle school, students that have a 3.0 GPA or higher have recently enjoyed a ski trip as like a reward. There have been a significant number of absences, both on students and as well as staff because of illnesses. And so that's made, covering content a little difficult. And of course, finding subs has continued to be difficult. But teachers are covering during their prep period, covering for other teachers and making it work. But they do feel a little spread thin. Attendance at the high school has also been a concern. At Bridges, one of the things that they've done is they have their students have planned like a reward trip to the river, and the students have raised monies for that. And I guess 20 students will be able to attend. They also have a marine biology field trip planned soon. And there's been a lot of really exciting events happening at the high school. The high school representatives talked about wrestling and swimming, but also coming up this Tuesday, if I remember correctly, there is a dance showcase at North Bend High School for not only the high school dance students, but also middle school dance students. So I think it starts at 7 o'clock and costs, I think, $10. So hopefully you can come out and support the dancers. Let's see. The association, we're preparing and looking forward to sitting down with administration next week to begin negotiating a new contract. So that's kind of exciting. This will be my first time doing that. So anywho, I don't have the extra mile presentation today because I'm gonna look at the camera. You all need to nominate one another so that I can recognize your work and thereby bring it to them. I do know that those who have been nominated in the past, myself included, have really appreciated the handwritten thank you note that you all send. That is a nice little surprise. So, well, now it's not a surprise. But anyway, I know that's been very, very well appreciated because several people have come to me and said, I wasn't expecting that. And then they, in fact, didn't even know maybe that they were recognized, but they were informed because someone said, oh, congratulations, I saw you on the recording. And they're like, wait, what? So anywho, it's a very cool thing. So keep nominating each other, classified and certified both. Anyway, thank you so very much.
So thanks for mentioning you went to Salem. Something, I mean, I've never done that, gone to see. You saw Boomer and Dick Anderson.
Yeah.
And
I'm not sure what to, but he was the representative for the North Coast. So my group was a blend or a mix of educators from around the state. And so Dick Anderson and Boomer Wright were the two that represented our area and a third.
Gotcha. So back in July 2023, when we got our new superintendent, the board sat down with him and we developed two goals: academic achievement and student behavior. And student behavior was on there because of its impact on teacher job satisfaction and retention, and the huge impact it had on the other students' academic achievement, tying into what Mr. Neil Jensen said earlier. So in Oregon, if any of you have worked in a system, I'm sure you have, it's very hard to change the system. And so Boomer Wright is trying to do that with his bill that he's working on. And really, it revolves around, he believes, and I believe this too, that every student deserves an quality education in Oregon. And no one or two students in those classrooms should be acting up virtually all the time and depriving the other students. So Boomer came here several months ago and talked to administrators and teachers and got some input and feedback so he could have some data to carry forward in this legislation. So I hope he's successful when he brings that out. And be a great thing to support. So, but it's part of changing the system, and it is a long and onerous way to go. So anyway, thank you for bringing that up about food. Okay, 5D Superintendent Report, Vince
All
Swagger.
right, you have my report, my written report, just a couple of highlights from the strategic planning. We've been working this week to prepare for session this Friday. This Friday marks the first time that the instructional team as well as the board team come together all in one week. We had a chance earlier in the week to see a prototype of what our 4-pager will look like and kind of work through some of those things. And so that team those two teams combined will have a chance to see that on Friday, and then that's from 1:30 to 3:30. Reminder that's high school library for those of you who are going to be on it. Then just a reminder that in the work session in March, they being performance back will have a presentation for you, and the board will have the opportunity to go through the entire document, and that will be your work session to essentially prepare for next month when you'll have the opportunity to adopt 5 years. So we're at that stage. Legislative session, you mentioned that. Every Friday, I'm a part of, all the superintendents are a part of the Coalition of Oregon School Administrators posted as a Zoom meeting where they give us an update as to what's happening in the legislature itself. A lot of activity. Most of the time, the biggest issue on the table in conversation is where we might fall in terms of financing. We won't know that until probably maybe in June in terms of how that be finalized. So we just kind of continue to move forward. Other kind of policy bills that are coming up, there's lots of them. Some of them that we support, others that we are not necessarily in support of, or would make school more difficult, not grease the slide, but make the slide harder to slide down. So you'll hear a lot of things that come out. The question really becomes which bills have legs and which bills don't. And the ones that do are the ones we're kind of locking into. There's lots of fringe bills that get written, but this sort of they get some press and then they die in committee somewhere. So as far as that's kind of what happens. The one thing that has a lot of legs to it, and that is the conversation around special education. Oregon has for decades had a cap of 11%. What that means for everybody in the room is that we get additional funding for all of the sped students we have up to 11% of our total student body population. And so any students that are more than 11% throughout the state of Oregon, they don't get any additional funding for those students. And I believe our last number is we're at about 18% sped rate in our district, which means that we get an additional weight or additional funds for up to 11% of those, where there's 7% of our kids that are in special education at IEPs that we don't get any extra funding for. So one of the things that's happening at the state level that our state legislators seem to be hearing this time is that 11% cap that was established decades ago is not adequate. At the time that it was established, 11% actually was the average, and that's why that was created. But now the average around the state is way higher than that. So the key though is that we're trying to make sure that they don't just raise the cap, but they add additional funding to support the cap. Because if we just raise the cap, then you're dividing the same pie differently than you would have anyway, and we're still essentially competing for those dollars. So It'll be interesting to see where that plays out, but we really do expect something to happen in that area, and we actually do expect some additional funding to go that direction. That concept has been very well received on, really on both sides of the aisle in the village. We already talked about the tournament the kids did. It's fun to have that on. Athletics, we talked about spring break. Just a reminder, spring break is coming up. Okay, the lights, we're getting, we can start to see the end of the year when we're getting spring break. So before we meet again, in terms of our regular meeting, we will have spring break and we'll be in the third trimester for the middle and high school. Science textbooks adoption is coming up. And so Bruce and Dana will kind of lead the charge for that. Just want to get that on your radar, probably adoption in May or June. It's not as arduous when you do a science textbook adoption. There's fewer publishers out there, and unlike adopting something like reading at the middle school or math, or the elementary and math at the elementary, it just is a more simple process because you typically have your people who really know science or index, and there's not as many publishers trying to sell science curriculum. It seems like as there are trying to sell reading curriculum. So it'll be a little bit more streamlined than what we've seen in the last couple of adoptions where we've done the reading and literature. The last thing I want to mention is stand up today. The news today, we know the high school has been a part of their accreditation process. They're in the process of getting re-accredited. And they got word today that their accreditation is approved. They'll get a final report in April. But they got news today that they're going to continue to be accredited as they move forward.
Okay, very good. Agenda item 6, action consent agenda items. Is there a motion to approve the action consent agenda items?
Second.
There's a motion from Nathan and a second by Mary. Any discussion? We shall vote, and we will have a roll call vote, and we'll start with Dallas. Aye or nay? A or nay? A. Julie?
Aye.
Aye. Carol?
I'll go with aye.
Aye. Aye for Jim? Aye. Aye for Nathan?
Aye.
Aye for Michelle?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 7 ayes. Is that the way we need to do it from now? Yeah.
Yes, please.
It's not a bad idea, but just in case. They had board training in the last meeting. So that's one of the things we talked about, is whether or not they should or shouldn't have a roll call vote or most of the votes. But you see, it still feels a little awkward. It's because of the training we did receive.
I'm sure everyone here can tell we're now trained.
I thought that was so smooth. That was great.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, moving on. Agenda item 7, resolution classified employee appreciation action. And this is page 13 in a board packet. And if I could get a board member to read that entire document. Yes. Nate.
Text of resolution 2025-06. Whereas the education of youth is essential to the future of our community, state, country, and world. And whereas classified employees are the backbone of our public education system. And whereas classified employees work directly with students, educators, parents, volunteers, business partners, and community members. And whereas classified employees support the smooth operation of offices, the safety and maintenance of buildings and property, and the safe transportation, healthy nutrition, and direct instruction of students. And whereas our community depends upon trusts classified employees to serve students, and whereas classified employees with their diverse talents and true dedication nurture students through their school years. Now therefore be it resolved that the North Bend School District Board of Directors proclaims March 3 to 7, 2025 be classified employee appreciation week. And be it further resolved that the North Penn School District Board of Directors strongly encourages all members of our community to join in this observance, recognizing the dedication and hard work of these individuals.
Okay, and the motion requested is, I move to approve classified employee recognition resolution as set forth above. I've made the motion. Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, there's a second. Any discussion? Okay, with that, we'll have a vote. Dallas, aye. Julie, aye. Carol, aye. Mia, aye. Nathan, aye. Michelle,
Aye.
Mira, okay, 7-0.
We're all right.
And I will say just a couple of things, we will actually celebrate this classified staff week, April 7th through the 11th, 2025, and the North Bend School District currently employs 130 classified employees. Any classified employees here this evening? Okay, someone's got to tell them about it.
And I'm just gonna say, they are amazing too. And understand that I think the Marty that is zoomed in, watching us right now, is probably Marty McAllister, who is their union president. And so, Marty, we really appreciate you and all of our classified employees who work with you. It doesn't work without them. No, it doesn't work without them.
Is classified the same as contract?
We have certified, teachers and those who got certification, everybody else is classified employee. Everybody from instructional assistants, to the library and kitchen and bus driver.
Thank you, classified employees. Okay, moving on, agenda item 8, resolution to accept additional preschool promise grant appropriation. And Kreider.
Good evening. So, as you've heard, we're opening a new section of preschool, and with that new section came additional state funding through the Preschool Promise Grant. And so this is representing those additional dollars, $159,250 that we are proposing and seeking appropriation authority to spend in instruction, enterprise community services, and facilities acquisition and construction. And we can't spend it without your approval.
So I move to approve resolution 2025-04, accepting and authorizing the appropriations in the special revenue funds as follows for the preschool promise grant with appropriations for functions, instructions for community services, and facility construction. Also.
Okay, there's a motion and a second, and that is restate the motion. I move to approve resolution 2025-04, accepting and authorizing appropriations in the special revenue fund as follows. For the preschool promise grant with appropriation for functions, instruction, community services, and facilities construction. Any discussion?
That doesn't seem much.
More than we have.
It is more.
It's more than we had, yeah, I think.
Right now.
It's a small amount because it's just for the end of the year, so it's prorated for the last few months, because we just opened the section. We're just now opened up. Yeah.
Good question. Thanks, Tim. Any further discussion or questions for Tim? All right, with that, we'll move to a vote. Dallas? Aye. Julie?
Aye.
Jim, aye. Aye. Nathan? Michelle? Mary?
Aye.
7-0. The training is,
Just marvelous.
it is. Okay. Agenda item 9. Following, that is resolution to accept additional SAA grant appropriation. Tim Kreider.
So again, SIA dollars are allocated by the state in a biennium basis, and they reconcile those dollars throughout that biennium, so we were fortunate to receive an additional $229,440.29. And we are seeking appropriation authority to spend that on instruction directly for students.
2025 -05, accepting and authorizing appropriations and special revenue fund as follows, with the additional SIA grant fund with appropriation for assumption construction.
Okay, so there is a motion and a second. I will repeat the motion. I move to approve resolution 2025-05, accepting, authorizing, and authorizing appropriations in the special revenue funds as follows. For the additional SIA grant fund with appropriation for the function instruction. Okay, any discussion? All right. So just so we've started up the second class out at North Bay?
For the preschool promise?
Yeah.
The student starts, yeah. We have the staff hired and the space carved out and getting all set up, ready to go.
Okay, sorry. All right, with that, we will, any other comments or questions? Okay, we will have a vote. Dallas?
Aye. Aye.
Julie, aye.
Aye.
Carol, aye. Jim, aye.
Aye.
Nathan, aye.
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Mary, 7-0. Okay. Agenda item 10, contract renewals. Right again.
So March board meeting, is standard sort of operating procedure in Oregon. We have to renew or non-renew contracts for teachers and administrators by March 15th. So in the March board meeting, you'll come to see that this is pretty standard in terms of doing this process. We pulled this out of consent agenda just in case there are any questions for board members. There's some different terminology here you may not be used to, so I just wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to ask questions if you had any. And essentially what we're saying is we have some teachers in probationary status, so we want to approve them to step up in probationary status to the next year or into contract status and also renew contract status of the remaining people listed. There are a few people that have temporary contracts. And so the terminology there is with a temporary contract, they're non-renewed and they're reposted based on district need year to year. So the terminology there is non-renewed without prejudice, meaning that that person doesn't have to say they received a non-renewal when they go out and apply for other jobs because it's not their fault. It's just that they had a temporary position.
Thank you.
I move to renew, non-renew the teachers and administrators as listed in the budget.
Nathan had a motion and the second was Mary?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll restate the motion. I move to renew / non-renew the teachers and administrators as listed. Any discussion?
I guess I have one question. Why are some just temporary and then they're renewed every year?
According to our collective bargaining agreement, if a position is filled after the school year starts, it's automatically a temporary position. And then if a position is filled by somebody who's retired, it's also considered temporary because they want to repost the position the following year to allow someone who's non-retired an opportunity for that job. So
Some are every year continuing to just be temporary though?
It depends on if it's a position filled by a retired person, it could be temporary year to year. Because of the contract, we said we would basically repost it. Or if it's just filled after the school year starts, then ideally, no. Ideally, they wouldn't be temporary year to year.
Any other questions for Tim? Okay, with that, we will have a vote. Aye. Alice, aye.
Aye.
Carol, Jim, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. 7-0. Okay. Agenda item 11, approval of the 2025-2026 North End School District semester calendar action.
Last month, you approved moving next year from trimester calendar for the middle and high school to a semester calendar. And that meant that the adopted calendar that you adopted last year for next school, 25-26 year, became, well, null and void. Which means that we need to have you adopt a new calendar. So, the calendar committee met, looked at a prototype and spent time studying the pieces and parts to it. And so what we presented to you is the calendar that we would ask that you adopt for the 25-26 school year. That is a semester calendar for the whole region.
My daughter still doesn't like it.
We appreciate your comment. We agree.
Yeah, she spoke for, did you ever find out if that was all her work?
It was her work.
Very well.
I like her already, I don't know her.
Good. Okay, so is there a motion?
Yes, I move to approve the 2025-26 North End School District semester calendar as presented. I'll second that.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. I'll repeat the motion. I move to approve the 2025-26 North End School District semester calendar as presented. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll move to a vote. Dallas?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
What a great meeting.
7-0, okay. Agenda item 12, board comments.
The lady in the back said she was that she'd like to have public comment when we go into the meeting. And I appreciate that public comment, how we do it now at the beginning of the meeting, especially if something like where we were doing the URA, where public comment has the ability to sort of sway the things that are on the agenda for the evening. We can hear what you're having to say tonight. We're speaking at the end of the meeting after we've made all the action. I'd rather have you have the opportunity to give us that opinion, to weigh on us and just.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I appreciate you'd like to have it at the end, but, I feel like on a night where we might have something that's very, very pressing for you, you might want to speak up before we actually vote on it and give us what you have as your opinion, and we all appreciate that.
I want both then. That's my end of the meeting. Public comment too.
There's a, I was always told, can't always have what we want, but,
You can't communicate.
but I feel that the way we do it now is really good. Again, I love to hear the passion of people on the things that we're talking about, and that's the most important thing is to be able to consider what you guys have.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, information only agenda items. Oh, sorry. About that.
First off, I'd like to extend my appreciation to everyone who worked on the strategic planning, the educators, parents, admin, students. It's been really great to see everything come together with their incredible ideas. So I'm sure we'll have a great strategic plan here for everyone. And also, Michelle, and then I appreciate the Friday memos that we get. The information on all of the athletics is just absolutely wonderful. And then including, or the latest one was the solo ensemble festival. And so I'm really proud of our district.
I'll visit her too, who I'm here today. Don't want to go anywhere else. This is a great school district. Thank you. All of you. Thank you.
Any other board comments? Okay, moving on to 13, information only, enrollment. The only one I really would like to highlight, the work session Thursday, March 20. Hall of Champions on strategic planning. That one